Ladies and gents, welcome back to Just in Time for Music, episode 6. Our guest today is our cellist, Lily Thompson.
Woo! First chair, baby.
Very true.
Only chair.
So, Lily is a part of our e-board, and she's on our very cool media team in charge of making us all look good on the internet.
It's true. I like to make TikToks for the orchestra.
Is that the main platform you work on?
Yeah, mostly TikTok.
So how many platforms do we have that the orchestra is on?
Okay, we have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and a YouTube where you can watch this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about your major, what instrument you play, how long you've been playing, and like what year of school you're in.
Okay, so I'm a freshman, music performance major. As you said, cello. That is my primary instrument, so that's what I'm studying currently.
Do you play anything else?
Yes, I do. I play the clarinet in the marching band here. I play piano, and I'm taking lessons as part of my major, and I play guitar.
Awesome. So, as a performance major, do you mainly just take classes that are all revolving around that?
No. Okay, so as a performance major, I take less classes than therapy and education, but I do still have to take classes such as
orchestra. All right, let's get right into the meat and potatoes of why you're here.
the what?
So you know how in a meal you got like your main course? Now we're in the questions with the main course.
Sure.
That's a real phrase.
It is!
That's a phrase, yeah.
Yes, Megan is confirming this is a real phrase.
This just in. It's a real
Literally.
phrase.
Yes. Thank you, Megan. All right, so what are your hobbies and interests outside of playing music?
I like art, so I'll draw a lot. You can't really paint in a dorm. I'm too scared of getting stuff on the carpet, and I didn't really bring any supplies. So mostly I do digital art on my iPad. I did bring a few sketchbooks. My cello case back here has some of my original art on it, not all of it. So don't think I'm super cool, but I'm kind of cool.
So some of those stickers are your art pieces?
Yeah.
Is that right? Wow. See, I thought those were all just stickers from like businesses and like events you've gone to and stuff.
Nope, some of that's mine.
That is some pretty cool artwork.
Thanks. You just said you couldn't see any of it.
Whatever. Anyways, so you've made some small things that are on your cello cases we've seen, but what would you say is probably like your biggest or like your best art piece that you've created?
I painted a 4-foot by 3-foot canvas over quarantine.
Whoa.
So, quite literally huge.
What's on the canvas?
It's a face. It's not like realism. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. There's a lot going on.
Interesting. So, what would you say is probably like your favorite art style that like you would like paint in? Because I know you mentioned like realism. Like, is there like a different style that like you kind of prefer?
I'm not a fan of blending paint. It's just not something that works out very well for me. So I prefer blocking colors. And a lot of my art tends to be in different colors. So I don't usually like painting people like skin colors. They're usually like purple or like rainbow.
Oh, that's awesome. That's certainly a different way to like do art like that. I personally have never done art like that because like I have this like big box of colored pencils that I always use, and they're like my main tools when I like draw or do anything. And
Mhm.
I try to use whatever colors I have and make it almost exactly like the real thing, but 9 times out of 10, it never works because I don't have great artistic skill. Now, I will say it's probably average, but if I'm trying to push it to above average, there's no way that's happening.
It takes time
Yeah, it really does.
and failure. There's some long lost to the world pieces that will never see the light of day because I painted over them.
Interesting. Yeah. For me, I feel like my favorite like paint style is the paint by number sets. It's about the level of painting that I'm honestly able to do, because I've never really been I've never been someone that's able to just like put paint to canvas and just like paint something that comes out of my head. Because I feel like paint's like sort of like a messy art source, kind of like what you were saying. So I feel like even if I painted anything just like purely just free of any lines or numbers or anything, like it just wouldn't turn out. Now granted, I've never really tried it,
Mhm.
but
I don't know, it's a risk you have to take. You gotta throw stuff down and you can't be afraid of it looking a bit awful for the first couple hours.
is that kind of like what your mentality of it, like when you started?
Yeah, so when I started painting, my dad's an artist, he paints, so we have paint around the house. The first painting that I can remember that I was like really proud of looked absolutely atrocious for like 2 hours.
Wow.
It also takes a lot of time. It's not
Yeah.
something you just do and you're like, okay, this is beautiful. It's like a struggle, it's a process.
Yeah. Now, granted, I come from like the paint by numbers side of things, but I totally understand that because I've even rushed through some of the colors when I go through like on a paint by number. So then I end up painting outside the lines, and then it just looks so bad when you have like the other colors that are like put in like after the fact.
Yeah, I'm not the patience for paint by numbers because it's so tedious.
Yeah.
Everything has to be perfect.
See, my method for paint by numbers is I try to maybe do like, depending on the size of the painting, it's like I try to do like 2-3 colors a day maybe, and just try to like do colors that don't really like touch all at the same time, because my mom was the one that originally got into the paint by numbers stuff like over quarantine and everything, and I got a set just to try it, and I thought, okay, this is actually pretty decent, so I just like, I'd put in like my AirPods and some music and just like paint a couple like colors like every day until it was finished.
That would drive me insane. I have to like finish it. Like, not like in one sitting, of course, absolutely not. It took me like 10 months to do that really big painting I was talking about.
Wow.
But I need to like see something that I've done, not just like different colors
Yeah.
and different little squares, you know?
So you basically have to like see the finished product from when you start, essentially, like in a way?
I have to see something form.
Okay. Yeah, I could see where you're going with that. So what else do you do besides artwork?
I like to listen to music. As expected.
Mm-hmm.
What else do? I do a lot of walking these days. This campus is really big.
Really big, but it's a great source of exercise.
It's really pretty. I walk like 3 miles a day, and I don't know, it's not that hard anymore.
Is that just from your classes, or is that just outside of classes?
I don't know. It's a bit of everything. I started marching with my phone during marching band because
Nice.
we're doing a charity thing with steps. It's called Charity Miles. It's really cool. So I often have that in like a pocket while I'm marching. So my phone's obviously counting that. And
Awesome.
marching rehearsals are 2 hours.
So what would you say is probably like your biggest step count you've had like in a marching band rehearsal with your phone tracking?
Oh my gosh.
Like if you could just give like a general like 1,000 area.
Like 3,000.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah. We're definitely picking it up because we're doing parade rehearsals now rather than just running our show. So,
And that's for the London trip, right?
yep.
Awesome. So do you want to talk about the London trip a little bit for the people watching?
Sure, yeah. A lot of the orchestra members are also in marching band, so I'll talk a little bit about it. So, over the winter semester, the Slippery Rock Marching Pride will be going and performing in the London New Year's Day Parade. It's a really big opportunity for us as a group, and it'll be really cool.
Awesome. For those that don't know, the winter semester is also code for winter break in a way.
Yeah,
At least for me, because I don't have any winter classes on my schedule. So I have from about December to like early January pretty much off.
5 weeks.
Yeah, that's a lot of weeks. Moving on. So how did you get involved with music and what made you choose the cello as opposed to like a violin or a viola?
So, in 3rd grade, in music class, there was a day specifically where you could try instruments. So the way that my school did everything, 3rd grade you could pick up a string instrument, 4th grade you could pick up a wind instrument or percussion, so like orchestra band basically. And so I got to sit down and I got to play them, and I love the violin, it's great, but beginner violin is not a noise that I wanted to put myself through.
Yeah, beginning violin, especially for me, it was kind of rough because it was a lot of screeching.
Yeah, it's really difficult to control high pitches like that.
Yeah.
So I just loved the sound of the cello. I was a small kid too, and I liked the whimsy of such a big instrument.
Yeah. See, I'll let you in on a little secret here too. Like for a while at the start, my parents wanted me to take the cello purely out of the fact that they thought it would be funny seeing me lug that thing around, but they also thought it'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then like the more we talked about it, the more we realized it was like, it probably wouldn't be practical to take it like to and from school, like trying to practice, especially like on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Like I take it you probably struggle a lot like on the bus route?
We weren't allowed to bring cellos on the bus, so you had to be picked up, dropped off if you had a cello.
Wow.
I mean, there were a lot of people at my school, so they needed seats for kids on the bus.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like, at least in my district, I don't think there were any like real instrument restrictions. Like when it came to like the buses and everything, like especially in elementary school, we did have a lot of kids, but we also had, I want to say, like 4 different elementary school buildings at the time. So I think we had plenty of buses and plenty of room. It's just like that whole concept of like a restriction like that just seems crazy.
I mean, it was definitely a good choice because how fragile string instruments are.
Yeah.
Like even the smaller sized cellos, like I started with the quarter-sized cello, that was pretty big for a school bus.
Now, is that a full size?
Mm-hmm.
Nice, very nice. So you got involved with music. Did you have any like music-related family members?
Not really. My dad played tuba in high school, but he didn't really keep up with it, and my mom didn't get back into playing the French horn until after I was starting to play the cello, so
Interesting.
I kind of like sparked the music in the family again.
That's awesome. Like really, when you think about it, like that you're like able to like re-spark like a music interest in there, because I personally come from like a pretty musical family, so like I've never really gotten to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But like my grandpa played for like the longest time, and I think he still plays and like goes on gigs like with some of his friends. He does guitar and bass, and then my dad plays guitar and bass as well. My mom was a choir person when she was like in college and stuff, and they even released an album. I want to say it was for like, I think I had this wrong the last time I brought this up, but I remember her telling me recently it was for their 150th anniversary, I want to say. But it was pretty cool listening to something that she was able to work on. And then like when it got to like the generation where it's like me and my brother plays guitar, but he's also a choir person now. And I play violin, but that's like the only thing that I really focus on with my music. Like I know the basics behind piano, so like piano's more of like a tool. It's not really an instrument that I try to play.
Mm-hmm.
But if it comes down to it, I can plunk out a couple notes here and there.
Right.
It's just like the violin's been my main instrument for like 10 years, and I feel like without it, it's like an extension of my body. It's like it'd be like having no hand but still having the rest of the arm, if that makes sense.
Huh.
Yeah, like it's still very cool that you were able to like spark that and be like one of the few strings people coming from like your parents playing band instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play with any outside of school orchestra groups in past years of your career?
Last year I played a semester with the Eastern University's orchestra. My mom works there, and my old cello professor conducted that orchestra. So I did one semester with them, and I've also played periodically with my church's community orchestra.
Oh, that's awesome. So talk to us a bit about your experience with the Eastern University Orchestra. What was that like? If you can remember. That was last year, so.
I mean, it was quite literally like a year ago today. I was at rehearsal on Halloween.
That's awesome.
It was definitely a different experience from any orchestra I'd been in before. It also felt like a wildly different experience from the orchestra here. So that's something that I think people really need to think about, is that not every orchestra at every college is going to be conducted the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be led the same way. Things are going to be different, and you might find one to be more beneficial for your growth than another.
Mm-hmm. Like I personally would advise for any younger musicians out there that are college shopping, try to go see some of these orchestras that you're interested in at concerts. Like this is going to be coming out after our concert, but we had a concert on the 14th of November, and hopefully we had some younger musicians show up that were interested in our program.
If you couldn't tell, it's Halloween today.
Yes, it is Halloween. I'm a tourist in Hawaii, if you could not put it together.
I couldn't.
Very nice. And what are you supposed to be?
A skeleton?
Very nice.
I did it myself.
Yeah. That's the pure artistry showing right there.
The skills of, I did both hands, and so I'm not exactly ambidextrous.
You even got the neck bones too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can see that, but she did some great work with that.
Thanks.
And
thanks.
Megan behind the camera is Flo from Progressive as well.
She looks really cool.
She does. What would you say is probably your greatest music moment in your entire career? It could be like a song you played, like a festival or an event you went to, or like in a whole different memory, like with a conductor or something.
The best, the most proud I've ever been of myself was my audition for Slippery Rock. I spent months on that material, and it wasn't perfect, of course, but I put my heart and soul into those pieces, and it was really rewarding to see that pay off, because I was able to perform those to a degree where I felt proud of myself. And I think that's also something you mentioned for young musicians, is that if you're auditioning for a university, it doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, they're looking for students who can grow, who have space to expand their skills. So just come prepared, show that you're willing to put in the work and the effort, and make something that you're proud of, and really, even if you get rejected, you put your heart and soul into that, and it's something you should be proud of. Yeah.
Yeah.
My orchestra audition was a little different from my department audition. I was sick when the music came out.
Oh, geez.
And then we had band camp, and so I had 3 days to prepare, and I wasn't worried about getting into the group because I'm a string major, so I need to be in orchestra, but I was worried about making a poor impression as a student who doesn't put in the work. So that's what made me really nervous. But Dr. Zhang was super nice, and I mean, I pulled things together enough where I wasn't embarrassed about anything, and yeah, it was hard stuff.
That's awesome. So you had mentioned that there was like a department audition, and you had to audition for the symphony orchestra here too.
Mm-hmm.
Could you go into a little more detail, like as to what the department audition like somewhat entailed, or like why you had to do that?
Right. So to get into a university music program, for the most part, there are some schools that forgo auditions, but the vast majority have auditions specifically to get into the program, kind of like art schools and submitting a portfolio. So at Slippery Rock, there's a little bit of a difference in expectations depending on what major it is. So as a performance major, there was a bit of a higher expectation of me, especially in the pieces that I was performing, than there would be for therapy or education. And so I played 2 pieces, and the instructions were of varying styles. It was nothing like huge, like they didn't want me to play like a whole concerto or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually played Fauré's Elegy, which is about a sheet of music, and Bach's Third Cello Suite.
Nice.
Not the first. Everyone plays the first.
Yeah, we had Holden on here for episode 2, and for his jam session segment, which we'll get to later, he played the prelude to, I believe it is the first of Bach's cello suites.
The ba-da-da-da-da, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so you played those 2 pieces, and then there was a sight reading portion.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to sight sing pitch, and then I had to clap some rhythms. I did forget what I was doing at one point, and I just entirely stopped clapping, and I just stood there and I stared at the paper, and it was a measure of 4 quarter notes.
Wow.
And it was the last measure too. So the teachers, the professors, oh my gosh, I'm still switching from high school.
That's alright.
We had a little laugh at that because like we all just collectively realized that I just checked out a measure early.
Yeah, well, I mean it happens. You still laid down a good performance and you're in the department, so
That's
that's
true.
gotta mean something.
There's also an interview. They just ask a little bit about you and about your music and all that.
So who was there as like the judges for the department?
So it's actually the professors. Dr. Briggs was there, the cello professor. I believe Dr. Holt was there. Someone was on Zoom, and there was one more professor. I just
So
don't remember.
so Dr. John wasn't there.
No, Dr. Chung was not there.
Nice, very nice. So over the years, I'm sure you've had a lot of wise conductors, right?
Yeah.
What would you say is probably the best musical lesson that you were taught, or the like best piece of advice that like a conductor or a teacher taught you?
I was recently told to work on what you want to sound better. So whatever's bothering you with your instrument, with your technique, focus on that. And that was kind of revolutionary to me. I was like, because coming to university, there are so many things that you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you play,
Mhm.
there's so many things that can be adjusted, that can be fixed, that can be made easier. And so I was just like so overwhelmed, like my bow hold, intonation, like
Mhm.
how I shift, everything was like turned on its head. And Dr. Briggs told me, this week, focus on what you want to sound better. And there's something so validating about fixing something that was bothering you rather than working on what might be like the most pertinent issue, because it's the most pertinent issue to me.
Yeah.
So, like, working on what I want to work on is so validating.
Yeah, I definitely feel you with that, because when I started my private lessons up here with Dr. John, who's the violin and viola professor, there was a lot that she pointed out, like straight off of the first lesson. Like I think I played like 2 notes, and she was already on me about like my posture or like my hand position or how I'm holding the bow. Like there was a lot of fine tuning that needed to be done. Now, granted, I had been warned by my private instructor back home, and we had started working on it, so it wasn't as bad as it should have been, but it was still pretty bad, and I'm really grateful that Dr. John's been working with me every step of the way to like help fix that, because now like I definitely feel myself improving. I feel my hand getting into like the right shape for how I should be shifting. Like I feel the bow hold getting better. And I feel my overall posture, especially when I'm like standing up and playing, getting a lot better as well. So for all the younger musicians out there, sometimes people decide that they want to quit music, but there are some that stick with it. So if you could tell the audience why they would continue playing music and bring that music up to SRU, like what makes music here so great to you?
I think the best way for me to explain it for me is to tell a little story. And that's that in my sophomore year, I was diagnosed with chronic pain and chronic fatigue.
Jeez.
And I spent several months in bed. And I stopped playing my cello for about 10 months. I like completely dropped out of lessons, like I wasn't doing any music at school. Put your glasses back on.
Fine.
Like the only thing that I was doing was singing occasionally in chorus, but that was all online because it was COVID. And like 10 months later, haven't touched my cello in forever. I finally take it back out of the case and I just sit with it and I'm on like the verge of tears. Like I haven't even played a note and there's just something so familiar about it. Like taking it out of my life would be like removing a family member. So it was really difficult getting back into everything, but it's so rewarding. There's something about music that nothing else can really replicate. And there's something about making music that makes it even more special. Like, I'll be frank here, I don't sit around and listen to classical music, but I love playing it.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. Like, I can't imagine, like, going through something like that. Like, personally, the most I've gone in regards to not playing my instrument, I think the most I've gone is, like, a week, just because I was on, like, a family vacation that I go on, like, every year. But, like, 10 months, that's crazy.
I didn't fully abandon music for those 10 months. I played my guitar, and I played the piano because those were just a little easier for me.
Yeah.
Less movement. I was new to piano, so it was simpler stuff. And I have chronic migraines. That's what it was, and they're like really debilitating. So playing the cello was like an attack of sound and vibration, and it was like super stimulating. So I just like couldn't do it for 10 months. It was crazy.
But you had said the cello is your main instrument, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy thinking that like the main instrument, like the main thing that like keeps you in music, like leaving that out, like, and just like not being able to like play it, it just seems so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I can't imagine it, but like, I'm happy you're here now because the cello section has never sounded better.
I am the cello section, Justin.
Very true. For those that don't know, we have one cello that is a current student at SRU. And you're looking at her.
The principal cello, best in the orchestra. Yeah, I'm going to assume I'm the best. One of our violas also plays cello, but I'm here for cello.
Wait,
and
really?
she's here. Yeah, Pearl plays cello.
Interesting. I had no idea.
And
She plays everything.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
We'll have to get her on.
She's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I'm better than you. It's okay, we're friends. She'll think it's funny.
Okay then. Yeah. So, Now we're going to enter the realm of a hypothetical.
Hypothetical, okay.
A hypothetical.
Okay,
So it's many years down the road.
right.
You're walking around in the streets of whatever town you end up living in,
Uh-huh,
way after your time at SRU.
uh-huh.
And a stranger walks up to you and recognizes you as Lily Cello from SRU. For more context, the e-board all refers to Lily as Lily Cello in our group chat, and it is funny.
Pierce, our president, didn't know my full name, and so he put me as Lily parentheses cello. And that's who I am now.
Yeah, I put Lily parentheses cello in all of our meeting notes documents as well when we have our board meetings.
It's a miracle that no one knows how to spell my name, considering how many times you see it a day.
Yeah. Anyways.
He doesn't want to admit it. It's one L, not two.
I've spelled it with one L every time I've had to talk to you about anything. Most times. I'll call it 80% of the time. Anyways, back to the
Okay,
hypothetical.
hypothetical.
Stranger walks up to you
Right,
while you're walking around town one day, many
Uh-huh.
years down the road, post
Right.
SRU,
yes,
recognizes you as the one, the only Lily Cello,
right.
and asks you, why do you play music? What has kept music in your life?
It's my job.
Take away the
I'm-
job aspect.
It is my source of income, and I find joy from it. And it's something that I don't see myself getting tired of, and something that I'm proud to be a part of, and something that I just do. I don't know.
That's awesome. Yeah, at least from my side of it, like the main reason that I felt like I shouldn't go into music was purely the thought of when something fun becomes work, you lose all interest in it.
There's never been anything else. It's always been music. Like, I picked up that cello in 3rd grade, and from then on, I hadn't thought about anything else.
Yeah.
Like, even when I wasn't able to play the cello, my sophomore year, and I was struggling to, like, even go to school, we made sure that I was in music classes. Like, even if I had to, like, take tutoring for, like, I did have to take tutoring for Algebra 2 over the summer and stuff.
Yeah.
I was in the music classes when they were held. So,
Yeah.
like, my whole schedule was built around music because my school had a really amazing program for students with disabilities who needed, like, IEPs.
Mm-hmm.
And through the whole process, my mom was like, you are not taking her out of music. Like,
Awesome.
music is the reason that she comes to school still. So
That's awesome.
it's just been music.
Yeah, even for me, like, in my high school days, I'm quite serious when I say I think I took every music class that could fit into my schedule.
Yeah, I was in so many ensembles.
It's like, I wasn't able to be in more than one ensemble. Now, granted, I don't play a band instrument, even though, like, I wanted to when I was much younger. But my parents told me, like, if you stick to one instrument, you'll be able to focus a lot more on that
My
instrument.
parents told me no for clarinet until I pulled out my recorder and played the most beautiful rendition of the doxology ever. And my parents were like, she's too good to keep her away from the clarinet.
That's awesome. But yeah, it's like, I pretty much, like, I saw that my parents were actually right about what they were saying, so I stuck with the violin, and now I've had so many opportunities, like, the last, how long have I been playing?
10 years?
Yeah.
You said 10 years.
Yeah, the last, like, 10 years. And, like, it's just been great, because I feel like if I didn't stick with it, or if I split my time between instruments, I wouldn't be able to do so many of those opportunities.
Here's the thing, I did not split my time. I only did clarinet during school. So I did not practice at all at home, and I never took any lessons. So anything outside of school was cello until I picked up piano. And I picked up piano solely, I mean, I wanted to play piano for a long time, but I picked up piano solely because my cello instructor was like, if she's going to music school, she needs to know how to play piano.
Nice. Yeah, the only reason I really got into piano was because Like our like intro music theory class at my high school is piano with basics of music theory smashed
Huh.
together.
Interesting.
So it's like we learned the basics of how to play the piano, but we also learned a little bit of music theory. But then there was another class that I took my junior year, which was our more advanced music theory. It was our AP version, and that was a lot more of like a deep dive into the music theory. And that's pretty much like where I learned everything that I personally know about music theory. Let's do one more question, and then we'll move on to the next segment. So if you could give someone one piece of musical advice, what would it be?
Don't practice for 40 minutes straight. It's not productive. You're gonna hate yourself. Megan, make better life choices. If you're gonna be sitting down and practicing for that long at one point, you need to be breaking it up. You need to be taking moments to think about what you're doing and how you're going to do better. Like, don't just try and try and try and try and try. You need to think it through. And I know that a lot of us don't like thinking, that's why we play music, but there's a lot of thought that goes into music. It's just not like math, you know? It's easy
true.
thought, it's fun thought.
And I hate to burst your bubble, but I'm literally the poster child for not following that piece of advice one bit, because throughout most of my high school career, I practiced about an hour or so straight, like every day.
That's so atrocious.
But to really like explain that, it's like I was in my school stuff, my
Ensembles is
lesson-
not practice. Let's get that straight, everyone. Ensembles does not count as practice time. Dr. Paige Riggs told me that, and you will not speak against her.
Amen.
You know what, Dr. Riggs? I may not have you for any sort of instruction, but I appreciate the advice. Thank you. All right.
Break up your practice, kids. For your own sanity. You're not going to learn anything after 40 minutes of going over the same passage over and over and over and over again without changing anything.
So that's where all my missing brain cells went.
That's why you didn't get first. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You're the principal's second violinist and you're really good.
I may have to disqualify you from more episodes.
You look like you're gonna cry.
I will. Just give it time. But
I'm sorry.
I mainly took these off because it's getting ridiculous trying to see with these things. I'm switching to my real ones.
Oh.
Oh, what the heck?
I slipped that in there. Don't worry about it.
Lily. Just for that, I'm opening this up right now. This was really folded well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Huh. Would you look at that? This just in. So, unfortunately, we've come to the most of the way through the semester, so there is no concert for us because our concert has already happened.
Not yet, but it will when this comes out.
Yes, this will be released after our concert is out. But we appreciate all the support you guys have given us all throughout the semester and at the concert. So if you want to follow along with what we're doing from now until spring semester, when we start over and prepare for our spring concert, we'll have all the social medias on screen at the end of the episode, like I referenced earlier, and down in the description. Other than that, I really don't think there's anything coming up for the orchestra. I mean, Megan, do you know of anything?
I don't think so.
I know. Well, if the media team doesn't know.
Yeah, if the media team doesn't know, then I think we're all doomed.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I don't know much. We're trying our best.
Yeah. I don't think the media team gets enough credit because they really do carry a lot of what the orchestra does.
Making TikToks is actually really hard.
Yes. We actually have to make a Halloween-themed TikTok after this recording session's over, which will be quite fun. Anyways, moving on to the jam session. What will you...
Little bird sat on the window, and they told me I don't need to worry. Summer came like cinnamon, so sweet. Little girls double dutch in the concrete. times we feel afraid. It's alright. The more you stay the same, the more we seem to change. Oh, don't you hesitate, girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans, I'll peek at your dream. Just go ahead, let your head down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow. Twas more than I could take, pity for pity's sake. Some nights kept me awake. I thought that I was stronger. When you gonna realize that you don't even have to try any longer? Do what you want to, girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans, I'll peek at your dream. You go ahead, let your head down. You're gonna find yourself some way, somehow.
That was amazing.
Go.
That was awesome. That was amazing.
Why, thank you, Justin.
Yes. I loved the chords. Your guitar skills were excellent. It was just great.
Thanks, I didn't write the chords.
Yeah, but you still played them way better than I could have. Anyways, that's going to be it for episode 6. Make sure you guys like the video, comment down below with any sort of feedback or additional things we should add to the show or to the set. And I don't know if I said this already, but subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future episodes. And on that note, stay musical.
Comment down below.
Okay.